I drove 6 hours to surprise my wife at her medical conference in Chicago. Flowers in hand, her favorite chocolates, a reservation at the restaurant where we had our first date. I walked up to the front desk of the Hilton with a smile, ready to ask what room Dr. Sarah Mitchell was staying in. The clerk typed her name into the computer, smiled. Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, room 812. Would you like me to call up and let her know you're here?" My hand froze halfway to my wallet. "I'm sorry, what name?" "Johnson," she repeated cheerfully. "Checked in yesterday. Is there a problem?" I stared at her. My wife's maiden name is Mitchell. Her married name, my name, is Carson. Who the hell is Mrs. Johnson? "No," I said slowly. "No problem. Don't call. I'll surprise her." The clerk handed me a key card. "Enjoy your stay, Mr. Johnson." I took the elevator to the 8th floor, flowers in one hand, key card in the other, and a sick feeling spreading through my chest. Room 812. I stood outside the door for a full minute, listening. Voices inside, laughter, a man's voice I didn't recognize, then hers. "We should order room service. I don't want to leave this room all weekend." I slid the key card into the lock. The light turned green. I pushed the door open. If you want to know what I saw when that door swung wide, hit subscribe, because what happened in the next 60 seconds didn't just end my marriage, it exposed a lie that had been running for 3 years. My name is Daniel Carson. I'm 38 years old, and I'm a high school history teacher in Indianapolis. I drive a 2015 Subaru Outback with a Coexist bumper sticker my wife bought me as a joke. I wear khakis and button-downs. I grade papers at the kitchen table. I make dad jokes even though we don't have kids yet. I'm boring, I know that. But I'm steady. I'm loyal. I'm the kind of man you build a life with. Or so I thought. My wife, Sarah, is the opposite of boring. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, she kept her maiden name professionally, is an ER physician at St. Vincent Hospital. She saves lives. She works 12-hour shifts. She comes home exhausted and wired at the same time, telling stories about the gunshot wounds, the heart attacks, the miracles and tragedies that fill her nights. She's brilliant. She's beautiful. She's everything I'm not. And for 10 years, I thought we balanced each other out. She was the fire. I was the steady ground. She was the storm. I was the shelter. I loved her so much it scared me sometimes. Looking back now, I realized that fear wasn't irrational. It was a warning.
The conferences started about 3 years ago. "I need to keep up my CME credits," Sarah explained one night over dinner. "Continuing medical education. It's required for my license." "Makes sense," I said. "Where's this one?" "Chicago. 3 days. Trauma Medicine Symposium." "Want me to come with? We could make a weekend of it." She hesitated, just for a second. "It's pretty intensive. Back-to-back sessions, networking dinners. I'd feel bad leaving you alone in the hotel all day." "I don't mind." "Daniel," she reached across the table, squeezed my hand. "I love you for offering, but this is work. Let me focus, and when I get back, we'll do something fun. Just us." I believed her. Why wouldn't I? The conferences became regular. Every few months, a new city. Chicago, Denver, Boston, Atlanta. Always 3 or 4 days. Always intensive. Always alone. "How was it?" I'd ask when she got home. "Exhausting," she'd say, dropping her bag by the door. "But good. Learned a lot." She'd show me her conference badge, the tote bag full of pharmaceutical company swag, the stack of business cards from other doctors. Everything looked legitimate. Everything felt off. It was the little things that didn't add up, like the time she came back from Denver with a tan in February. "The hotel had a rooftop pool," she said. "I got some sun between sessions." Or the time I called her during the Boston conference and heard music in the background. Loud music. Club music. "Where are you?" Networking event. It's at a bar. Can I call you back? Or the time she came home from Atlanta smelling like cologne. Not her perfume. Cologne. Men's cologne. One of the keynote speakers hugged everyone. European guy. Very touchy-feely. Each time I swallowed the doubt. Each time I told myself I was being paranoid. Each time I chose trust over truth. The Chicago conference was supposed to be her biggest one yet. 4 days, she said, packing her suitcase. Major symposium. Speakers from Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic. This is huge for my career. I'm proud of you, I said, and I meant it. She kissed me at the door. I'll call you every night. Be safe. Always am. She left on a Thursday morning. I went to work, taught classes, graded papers. That night, she called, told me about the opening keynote, the hotel, the sessions lined up for tomorrow. Everything sounded normal. Everything felt wrong. Friday night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle around me. Our house, the one we'd bought together 5 years ago, the one we were supposed to fill with kids someday. I picked up my phone, scrolled through our text thread. Miss you. Miss you too. Long day, heading to bed. Love you. Love you. The words looked right. They felt hollow. At 2 a.m., I made a decision. I was going to surprise her.
I called in sick Saturday morning, first time in 3 years. I threw an overnight bag together, grabbed the flowers I'd bought for our anniversary next week, picked up her favorite chocolates from the fancy place downtown. I plugged the hotel address into my GPS, Hilton, Chicago, 720 South Michigan Avenue. 6 hours. I could be there by mid-afternoon. I drove with the windows down, radio off, just the sound of highway and my own thoughts. I told myself this was romantic, spontaneous, the kind of thing that would make her smile. I told myself I wasn't checking up on her. I told myself a lot of things. None of them were true. I hit Chicago traffic around 3 p.m., crawled through downtown, found parking 2 blocks from the hotel. The Hilton was massive, glass and steel, flags out front, doormen in uniforms. I walked through the revolving doors into a lobby that smelled like money and air conditioning. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, people in business casual everywhere, name tags hanging from lanyards. I looked for the conference, saw signs, Midwest Trauma Medicine Symposium, ballroom level. So it was real. The conference existed. I felt a wave of relief and shame. What was I doing here? I walked to the front desk, flowers in hand, feeling like an idiot. A young woman smiled at me. Checking in? No, actually. My wife is here for the conference. I wanted to surprise her. Could you tell me what room she's in? Of course. Name? Sarah Mitchell, or Sarah Carson. She might be registered under either. The clerk typed, frowned, typed again. I'm not seeing either of those names. My stomach dropped. Are you sure? Let me try. Oh, wait, here we go. She smiled. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, room 812, checked in yesterday. The world tilted. I'm sorry? What? Johnson, she repeated. Would you like me to call up and let her know you're here? I couldn't breathe. Johnson? Yes, sir. Is there a problem? My wife's name is Mitchell. My name is Carson. Who the hell is Johnson? No, I heard myself say. No problem. Don't call. I'll surprise her. Wonderful. She handed me a key card. Enjoy your stay, Mr. Johnson. I stood in the lobby holding that key card like it was evidence at a crime scene. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. My hands started shaking. I walked to the elevator, pressed 8. The doors closed. The car rose. I watched the numbers climb. 3, 4, 5. My brain was trying to find an explanation, any explanation. Maybe it was a mistake, a clerical error. Maybe she registered under a fake name for privacy. Maybe... The elevator dinged. 8th floor. I stepped out into a long hallway, patterned carpet, soft lighting, quiet. Room 812 was at the end of the hall. I walked toward it like a man walking to his own execution. I stood outside the door for a full minute. I could hear voices inside, muffled, indistinct. Then laughter, her laughter. Then a man's voice, deep, comfortable. "We should order room service. I don't want to leave this room all weekend." Her voice, "God, yes, I'm starving." More laughter. I looked down at the flowers in my hand, the chocolates, the romantic gesture that now felt like a prop in a play I didn't know I was in. I slid the key card into the lock. The light turned green. I pushed the door open. The room was nicer than any hotel room I'd ever stayed in. King bed, city view, minibar, robes on the bed. And on that bed, sitting cross-legged in one of those robes, was my wife. Next to her, also in a robe, was a man I'd never seen before. Tall, fit, salt and pepper hair, maybe mid-40s. They were laughing at something on his phone. They looked up when the door opened. Sarah's face went through 5 emotions in 2 seconds. Confusion, recognition, shock, fear, and something I'd never seen before. Guilt. "Daniel?" The man looked at me, looked at her. "Who's Daniel?" I stood in the doorway, flowers in one hand, key card in the other, and felt my entire life collapse. "I'm her husband," I said. The man's face went pale. "Her what?" Sarah stood up, tightening the robe. "Daniel, what are you doing here?" "Surprising you," I said. My voice sounded calm, distant, like it belonged to someone else. "At your conference." "I can explain." "Can you?" I looked at the man. "Who are you?" He stood up slowly. My name is Richard. Richard Johnson." Johnson. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. "How long?" I asked Sarah. "Daniel, please." "How long?" She closed her eyes. 3 years. The number hit like a fist. 3 years. Every conference, every city, every time she came home with stories about keynote speakers and networking events. All of it, lies. Richard Johnson looked like he might throw up. "You told me you were divorced." Sarah's eyes snapped to him. "Richard, you said you were divorced 2 years ago. You said you kept your ex-husband's last name professionally, but you were done. You said, 'I know what I said.'" "You're married?" His voice rose. "You're married?" I almost laughed. Almost. "Yeah, 10 years. Didn't she mention that?" He looked at her like she was a stranger. "Sarah, what the hell?" "Both of us," I said quietly. "She lied to both of us." The room went silent. Sarah stood there, trapped between the 2 men in her life. The husband who didn't know, the boyfriend who didn't know. "I need to explain," she started. "Don't," I said. "Don't insult me with explanations." "Daniel, please, it's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think." I looked at Richard. "How did you 2 meet?" He was still staring at Sarah like she'd grown a second head. At a conference 3 years ago. Chicago." "Let me guess. She told you she was single?" "Divorced," he corrected. "She said she'd just gotten out of a bad marriage." I nodded. "And you believed her?" "Why wouldn't I?" "Because you wanted to," I said. "Same reason I believed her when she said these were work trips." Sarah's voice cracked. "I never meant for this to happen." "Which part?" I asked. "The affair, the lies, the fake name at the front desk?" "All of it." She was crying now. "I didn't plan this. It just happened." "For 3 years?"
I didn't know how to stop. Richard sat down on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. I can't believe this. Join the club, I said. Sarah wiped her eyes. Richard, I'm sorry. I should have told you. Should have told me? He looked up. You let me fall in love with you. You let me introduce you to my daughter. You talked about moving in together. That one hit me. You were going to move in with him? I don't know. Maybe. I hadn't decided. Hadn't decided? My voice finally broke. Sarah, we're married. We own a house. We have a life. I know. Do you? I stepped closer. Do you have any idea what you've done? Yes, she was sobbing now. I know, I'm a terrible person. I know. You're not terrible, I said quietly. You're a coward. Richard stood up, started getting dressed. Jeans, t-shirt, shoes. Where are you going? Sarah asked. Away from you. Sarah, please. Don't. He grabbed his wallet, his phone. I don't know who you are. I thought I did, but I don't. He walked past me to the door, stopped, turned back. For what it's worth, he said to me, I didn't know. If I'd known she was married, I never would have. I know, I said. He nodded once, then he left. The door closed behind him with a soft click. And then it was just me and Sarah. She sat down on the bed, still crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I set the flowers down on the dresser, the chocolates next to them. I drove 6 hours to surprise you. I bought your favorite things. I made a reservation at Spiaggia, the restaurant where we had our first date. She looked up. Daniel, I was going to propose we start trying for kids. Her face crumpled. I had this whole speech planned about how proud I am of you, how lucky I am, how ready I am to start the next chapter.
I pulled out my phone, showed her the Notes app, the speech I'd written during the drive. She read it through tears. I'm sorry, she whispered. Why? I asked. Just tell me why. She took a shaky breath. You're a good man, Daniel. You're kind and steady and safe. But I'm not, she looked at me. I'm not steady. I'm not safe. I'm chaos. And you're so calm, so patient, so boring. There it was, the truth. I'm boring, I repeated. I didn't mean, yes, you did. I sat down in the chair by the window. I'm the guy who grades papers and coaches basketball and makes dad jokes. I'm predictable, reliable, boring. You're a good man, she said again. Just not an exciting one. She didn't deny it. We sat in silence for a long time. Finally, I stood up. I'm going home. Daniel, wait. No, I picked up my overnight bag. I'm done waiting. I've been waiting for 10 years for you to love me the way I love you. I'm done. I do love you. No, I said. You love the idea of me, the safety, the stability, but you don't love me. She started to argue, stopped, because we both knew it was true. I'll have my lawyer contact you. You're divorcing me? You're surprised? I thought maybe we could work through this. I stared at her. Sarah, you've been living a double life for 3 years. You registered at this hotel as Mrs. Johnson. You were planning a future with another man while sleeping in our bed. I know, but there's no but. I opened the door. We're done. I drove home in the dark. 6 hours back, alone. No radio, no podcasts, just silence and highway lights. I thought about the last 10 years. The moments I'd treasured, the memories I'd built. How many of them were real? How many were just me believing what I wanted to believe? I pulled into our driveway at 2 a.m., walked into our house, our empty house, sat on the couch in the dark, and for the first time since I was a kid, I cried. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Her name was Patricia Reeves. She came recommended by a teacher at my school who'd gone through a divorce 2 years earlier. Tell me what happened, she said. I told her, all of it.
The conference, the hotel, the fake name, the 3 years of lies. She took notes, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she looked up. "Do you have proof of the affair?" "Yes." I pulled out my phone, showed her the photos I'd taken in the hotel room, Sarah and Richard, the robes, the rumpled bed. "This is good," Patricia said. "Indiana is a no-fault state, but adultery can still impact things like alimony and asset division." "I don't care about the money," I said. "I just want out." "I understand, but you should care. You're entitled to a fair settlement." "Fine, whatever. Just make it fast." She nodded. "I'll draft the papers. You'll need to decide how you want to handle the house." "She can have it." "Mr. Carson." "I don't want it," I said. "I don't want anything that reminds me of her."
The papers were served a week later. Sarah called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. She texted, "Please, we need to talk." I replied, "Talk to my lawyer." She showed up at the house. I didn't let her in. She showed up at my school. Security walked her out. Finally, she stopped trying. The divorce took 4 months. We sold the house, split the proceeds. She kept her car. I kept mine. She kept her retirement accounts. I kept mine. No alimony, no drama. Just done. The day the papers were finalized, I sat in my new apartment, a 1-bedroom in Broad Ripple, and felt nothing. Not relief, not sadness, just empty. 6 months later, I ran into Richard Johnson. It was random. A coffee shop in downtown Indy. I was grading papers. He walked in, saw me, froze. "Daniel." "Richard." He hesitated, then walked over. "Can I sit?" "Free country." He sat, ordered a coffee. We sat in awkward silence. "I'm sorry," he finally said, "for my part in everything. You didn't know. I should have asked more questions. We both should have." He nodded. "For what it's worth, I ended things with her that night, after you left." "Good." She tried to explain, said she was confused, said she loved both of us. I laughed, bitter. She didn't love either of us. She loved the attention. "Yeah." He sipped his coffee. "I wasted 3 years on her. I wasted 10. We sat with that. "You seem like a good guy," Richard said. "I'm sorry you got hurt." "You too." He stood, extended his hand. "Take care of yourself." I shook it. "You too." He left. I went back to grading papers. A year later, I met someone new. Her name was Emily. She taught English at my school. Divorced, no kids, loved hiking and terrible reality TV. We started slow. Coffee, then dinner, then a weekend trip to Brown County. She knew about Sarah. I told her everything. "That's awful," she said. "I'm sorry." "It's in the past." "Is it?" I thought about that. Getting there. She smiled. "Good, because I like you, Daniel Carson, and I don't want to compete with a dosed." "You won't," I promised. 2 years after the divorce, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Sarah. I know you don't want to hear from me, but I need to say this. I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better. I hope you're happy." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it. Not out of anger, not out of spite, just because I didn't need it anymore. People ask me sometimes if I regret the surprise, if I wish I'd stayed home, stayed ignorant, stayed in the comfortable lie. I don't, because the truth, no matter how painful, is always better than a beautiful lie. I drove 6 hours to surprise my wife, and I got the biggest surprise of my life. But I also got my freedom. If you've ever been betrayed, if you've ever had your world turned upside down by the truth, if you've ever had to rebuild from nothing, this one's for you. Comment, "I survived,"
if this hit home. Hit subscribe for more real stories about the moment everything changes. Because sometimes the worst day of your life is the first day of your real life. And that's worth more than any lie.